Welcome back to our Vuetify component series. So some time ago I created this navigation tutorial. Basically what we wanted to accomplish was a way for us to navigate between the different components that we have um, in our project. So to make it easier for us to look at them and all of that just on one page, because we don't necessarily I don't want to add routing or the router to our project just yet. So this is what I decided to do, just to tab through them. So this video here basically goes over all of that, so you can go ahead and check that out to have a better understanding of what we did in this tutorial. But what I found was that it wasn't a very efficient way of doing it, because it required a whole lot of if else statements and all of that for us to be able to actually complete the task that we wanted to do, basically switching between the components. Now, in the event that we have like a whole lot of different components, like let's say hundreds and whatever, maybe we won't reach that far, but at least let's say 20, 30 components. We don't really want for us to have to be having a whole lot of different if else statements, as you would have seen in this video if you watched it, where we had to be keeping track of the different components and all of that. Now, at the time I didn't really know anything about dynamic components, and that is the approach that I want to use as an update to this video that we have here. And this is the documentation for Vue 2 um, dynamic components here, and you guys can go ahead and check this out and to have a better understanding of the dynamic how dynamic components work and all of that. As you know, the Vue documentation is great, so it's something that I highly recommend that you guys go ahead and check out. So what I want to do now is basically just to open my terminal and let's bring this over a bit. Hopefully you guys can see this clearly. And go to YouTube projects ls. Here we have Vuetify components, and we can open this in code, and it should open a code window here. I have a plugin in this thing here, which is Vuetor, and you guys can go ahead and install this. Is actually great. I believe this one comes actually right from Vue. They're the ones actually created this plugin here, so it's awesome. I think it's only for Vue. Well, can use. I believe you can use it with Vue 3, but for this one we're using Vue 2, so it's awesome. I believe they have a new one that is for Vue 3. So here what we have is the app in here, and it's just the app, the only component, our main component, which is the app.vue file, and then we have the different components. As you guys, if you're following the series, you would know. Now, Vuetor has this thing that or Vito, or however you want to pronounce it, that you kind of have to name your components in such a sense where they have uh multi-worded, I should say. Now, for the login and the register component, you have to do it. I don't think you necessarily have to do it for the other ones, but I think components with the login or the register name, you kind of have to. So in this instance, to save ourselves, what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and call this app register, and we're going to save that. And for this one, we're going to go ahead and call it app login, and we can just pretty much go ahead and do this for all of the rest of these. This one is forget password. So forgot pass. Well, I'm gonna call it app forgot password. And for this one, scroll all the way down, and we don't have any script tag in here, or not scripts. I want Vue JavaScript name, and this is going to be our app profile contact card. So this is just to save ourselves. So we can go ahead and close these out and go back to the main page here. Now you may have noticed that I have Vuetify open here. So we're gonna pretty much use a component that I think will make our lives easier as well, which is we're gonna basically change up the whole style of our application. So we're gonna have I like this color, so we're gonna use that one, the color here. We're gonna pretty much just grab this one here that has the overflow, because I think we're gonna need this overflow, and I'm gonna change the color. And for some reason I think I actually want it centered. No, actually, because we're gonna have the more, so we can leave that as is. Now before I add these, let me just show you exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. So in here I'm gonna clear this out, well, not clear it out. I'm gonna go ahead and just import all the additional components that we'll need. So this is very standard thing that we all already know. So import login from @/components, and we already have the syntax there, login, and we're gonna register this component. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the rest of these quickly. Alright, so all of the components that we have would now be registered. And the idea is that what we have is a component attribute here, or tag actually. So you can see meta component render dynamic components to show actual components when you have the is property. So this is basically the viewer showing, giving us that. So we can do a vbind here, and we're gonna bind it on the is property here, and then we give it a component name. So I'm gonna call this app component. This is the attribute that we're going to be calling it on. And again, as we all know, we can always add the @ symbol here to make this much easier. Well, my bad. So @ is the colon actually. What am I doing? The colon. So sorry about that. So the colon is, it means the vbind attribute. Now we need to create this here. So pretty much what we're gonna do is come down here and create data function, our method, and we're gonna return the object, and this is what it's going to be called, and we're going to give it a component by default. So the one that I want to give it is a login component. So if we save this now and go, well, have we actually started the server? I guess not. So let's do a yarn serve and let that serve up. All right, so there we go. Now we can navigate over here, open a new window, and just go to 8080. And there we go. So now you can see that we're having our login component. And what I've noticed was that they say components. I don't want that to be plural, singular here. And now we can save it. It should give us the same result that we had before. So our login component, and nice. What I want to do now is to basically be able to switch between these at click. So that's pretty much, I want it to be dynamic, obviously. So what I'm gonna do here is, I said I'm gonna copy this tab here. So that is this we could pretty much stop right here, arguably, and just switch between these, create a function to switch between these. But we're gonna try something, and hopefully we do not mess it up. So let's go ahead and copy this code here, and we're gonna paste it right. Let me just grab this, bring it down. Can I drag you down there, paste you right there, and I'm gonna comment this out so it doesn't read. Well, I'm gonna have to move it up. I'm gonna put it right here because I think this is somewhere, this is about where we want it, or we're gonna need it to be. Comment it out, and there we go. We also need a script for this, so let's copy that there, and then we're gonna put it, oh, I'm gonna have to put it afterwards and then basically refactor it. So we need this, we need methods, so I'm gonna put this right after the components. So what am I doing? Components, we have methods, and then in data we can just remove, can leave data as is and just cut what we need out of it. Can now delete this here and then paste this afterwards in here, and then save. And we have an error, has been registered but not used. Should not be an error. I don't get why that's giving us an error. If we don't want to use a thing, then that should be fine. To save us or to give us some amount of sanity, what we can do is pretty much just use log, have them, I guess, all of them. So let me just put them in. All right, so that is it. So this is pretty much all of the components. It should not be giving us the error anymore. So you can see we can basically scroll through all of them, but we don't necessarily want that. So I'm pretty much gonna hide it. All of do a v if on all of them and just set the v if to false. So I pretty much just hide the different components here right now, so they're not showing on the page. So now, just so that it doesn't give us the error, you will notice that this doesn't give us the color that we saw on here. If I change it back, and it also looks away, and that is because we don't have this inside of a V app. So let's put this all inside of a V app and then paste it. Now you will notice that there is a difference when I come over here. However, as I mentioned before, I want to change the color. So I'm going to put this to be primary. Actually, is it primary? I think I said that I like the other color. Could leave it up as primary. I'm going to leave it at primary. You guys comment and tell me if you would prefer that I change this over to the cayenne color. So let's leave it as primary for now. Alright, so the next move that we want to make now, and I basically am freestyling this because I haven't really I didn't really plan this thing out, so pretty much just freestyling it. So let me just give this some more space for us to have. Here we go. Alright, so now is for us to just loop through the different components, and pretty much can give the name of the components here. So this could be login, and there we go. And these would be our additional components. For now, we don't have any more components, so we're gonna leave that as is. And I think we have an if statement on this, so we can pretty much just clear this out to say if there is any, what we're gonna do. I think there's one right off here. So if more that length, there is no length, so it won't show anything. All right, so over back to our component. So we have login, register for that password, and profile card. and it gives the name as well to the component. And this is how we want to tab through it. It doesn't show them more because there's no um there's no additional ones there. So these are the main ones that we want, and again we set the first one to default. Now what we want to do is just dynamically show the component as is. So I'm gonna move this from here and I'm gonna put it right up here where this text is, because this text right here is this and we don't need this, so we're gonna delete that as well. So what we should be seeing now is the first component, which is the login component, which is awesome. So this is going somewhere already. I think I'm okay with what it looks like there. It's just what it's at the top there. I wanna remove. I'm gonna check in here if it's something to do with, yeah, it's a container. So it's a container. I'm gonna remove the V app from the login page, save, and see if that makes any difference. And it does. So you can see that it's because we have the app on there. We already have the app inside of the main app here. So, and I'm saying a lot of apps, but you have an idea of what I'm trying to bring across. So we can pretty much take all of them out. I think we could also take out the main. Let me try and take out the main and see what that will do. I think the container should be there though. So let's see what we get from here. So awesome. So now this looks a lot better without any of those. So we're gonna remove the main from all of them. All right, there we go. So this is what it looks like. So we have this here. We probably should center the title, but for now we can leave it as is. We have this line here that I need to figure out, but that's not an issue for now. Let's just leave that as is. Yeah, so now it's gonna navigate only one component, but we don't want that. We want it to switch between the different components that we have. So we want to say back in our app, let's see here. So what I want to do is right up here where we're actually already looping through all of these, we're going to be doing a click on these. So what we can do here is just to say at click, we are going to set app component to item. And as we already know, the items that we have here is a different set of components that we have registered. So at that point, it should assign the name, because that's how we have it, to here, and that should give us the new component. So let's come out of this. I think that should have refreshed it already. If we go to register, now we can see that we have the register component in here. And if we go to forget password, now we have the forget password component in here. And we also have the profile card, our contact card component in here. And that is it. I think we did it. I think we can now remove this here. And I want to change this title here to Vuetify Components. Components. Let's capitalize this and save. And now we have Vuetify Components. And we can make this better. And I think that's what we're gonna do as well. Cause let's say for example we have forgot password here, then it literally joins them together. We don't want that. We want to have it looking better than that, or on this here as well. And yeah, so that is pretty much it. There are a couple other things that we could add to this, but for now I think this would suffice as it relates to navigating through the different components. So pretty much at this point all we have to do now is just to add the name of the components here, just import them, add the name here, and or add it to the more actually, and then from there from the more we should be able to do these. And I should actually try this from the more as well. So what I'm gonna do is just to copy these because we actually want to ensure that the more actually works as well. So let me paste forget there. So now we should have more. But if we click on this, it doesn't take us to where we want it to go, does it? That's because we haven't implemented it. So what I'd have to do here is just to copy just this part. I think I can do some sort of chain in here and save that. Let's see if it works. If I click on here, it doesn't work. Let's refresh this. Click on more. Forget password. It goes to register and not where it should go. So instead of adding it to item, why not remove that, save that? Because we don't necessarily need it to be added to item, we just wanted to switch out the components. So there we go. So now if we click on these, it actually works the way that it should work. I think this is because we already have the components issue, so that's gonna tell the bug that we can fix later on. So again, that is pretty much it. So everything works for the most part. Yeah. So we've successfully created a navigation for our components, the different components that we have, and if we have more components, we can also navigate through those components as well. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. If you have any questions or any concerns or anything, please leave your comment in the comment section. If you want to add to this repository, feel free. The GitHub page is right here, and you guys can go ahead and also add to it. If you want to fix some of the bugs that I have, you can go ahead and do that. So I'll create additional videos to look at updating this some more as well, and adding whatever else feature that we can. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.